The first thing I heard was the clock. Not loudly, not ticking on a wall. Just that quiet, invisible voice time uses when it's inside your skull. You're late. You're behind. You're wasting it. I hadn't even opened my eyes yet. The glow of the screen beside my bed was already pulling at me. Messages, notifications, numbers measuring the distance between who I am and who I think I should have become by now. I stared at the ceiling and felt it. That tightness in the chest that arrives before your feet touch the floor. The weight of a day that's already overbooked, and you haven't even said good morning to your own breath. And then, very quietly, like a hand on the back of my neck, a thought I didn't plan appeared. What would happen if for 7 minutes I stopped controlling time, not managing it, not optimizing it, not squeezing one more productivity hack into it, just not touching it at all. No planning the next hour, no regretting the last year, no bargaining with the future. 7 minutes where time belongs only to itself. I know how that sounds. Dangerous, irresponsible, like letting go of the steering wheel while the car is still moving. This is the part where most people close the video because they feel how tightly their fingers are wrapped around the clock's throat. But you won't, will you? You've already felt it tonight. The exhaustion that isn't really about being tired. It's about running. Running after time. Running from time. Trying to pin it down with plans and calendars and quiet little promises to yourself you never quite keep. Come closer. Look at this with me. I picked up my phone, not to escape, but to set a timer. 7 minutes. Not 10. Not 15. 7. Felt like a dare. My thumb hovered over the screen. I could feel the old reflex rising. If I'm going to do this, I should make a rule, a technique, a proper meditation, something structured so that I don't waste these 7 minutes. Even my surrender was trying to be controlled. I caught it, saw it, and gently set it aside, like moving a child's hand away from a hot stove. No method, no script, just this. For 7 minutes, I will not try to control time. I will not look forward. I will not look back. I will not measure this moment against another. I pressed start. Silence, the first second was the hardest, because it felt like jumping off a building whose windows are all made of clocks. Immediately, the mind began its old litany. 7 minutes is nothing. 7 minutes is a lot. You could check your messages in that time. You could be productive. You could at least use this to fix yourself. But something deeper was already awake. Something that had been tired of being ruled by digits on a screen. So I lay there, still, not as a technique, as a surrender, and I let the minutes come, without meeting them at the door with an agenda. At first, nothing mystical happened. My breath went in. My breath went out. The room stayed exactly as it was. But inside, the places I normally rush past began to light up. I felt the precise texture of the sheets on my skin, the faint hum of some distant appliance, the way the air tasted when it slipped into my throat, slightly cool, vaguely metallic, like the memory of rain. Every few seconds, a familiar habit tried to reassert itself. What time is it now? How many minutes left? Is this working? I didn't fight it. Fighting is just another form of control. Instead, I watched each thought rise like a bubble. Watched it shimmer. Watched it pop. You're wasting the morning. Pop. You should be doing something useful. Pop. You could turn this into content, into healing, into growth. Pop. And underneath the popping, there was something else. A steady, silent presence. Unimpressed by minutes. Unhurried by years. You know that presence. It's the one that watched you as a child when you stared out the window and forgot what day it was. The one that's still there when you wake up from a dream and, for a moment, don't remember who you're supposed to be. It never asks what time it is. It just is. Maybe a minute passed. Maybe 3. I wouldn't know. I refused to look. Instead, I felt. I felt how much of my life had been lived with a hand gripping the future's throat. How many meals I'd eaten in the company of the next meeting. How many kisses were shared with one eye on the clock. How many nights, like yours, where sleep was held hostage by the ghost of tomorrow. Time had become my god and my prison. And here I was, in the small rebellion of 7 minutes, seeing my chains for what they were. Not metal, not absolute, just habits, wrapped around thoughts, wrapped around fear. This is the part where most people close the video, because they can feel their own chains rattling. But you're still listening, which means a part of you is already tugging at the lock. Then something shifted. I stopped being a person trying not to control time, and became simply this moment. There was no longer me in time attempting to relax. There was just sensation unfolding. The slight ache in my shoulder, the sound of a car passing outside, the subtle flicker of light behind closed eyelids. They weren't happening to me. They were just happening. Time wasn't something passing by. It was the way these sensations arranged themselves. And for a heartbeat, or 2, or 10, there was no distance between now and me. We were the same thing. And you, right now, can you feel it at the edges of your awareness? That tiny, trembling space where you're not worrying about the next notification, or the next disappointment, or the next version of yourself you're supposed to become. Just for a breath, time loosens, and you are exactly here. Not 5 minutes from now, not in last year's mistake, not in the next imagined heartbreak. Here, this is where you've been trying to arrive your whole life, and it never moved. My mind didn't like that. It started to panic in small, clever ways. If you stop controlling time, you'll waste your life. If you don't plan, something terrible will happen. If you don't keep checking, you'll miss the moment that matters. As if this one didn't. I could feel the old, anxious current trying to drag me back into the river of what if. But I remembered the promise. 7 minutes. Time can do whatever it wants. I will not chase it. I will not run from it. I will not hold its hand and drag it somewhere else. I will simply let it be. And in that letting, something in me began to unclench. Not just the muscles, something deeper. The part of me that had believed for years that my worth was measured by how efficiently I moved through the hours. The part that thought rest must be earned, that stillness must be justified, that presence was a reward instead of my birthright. As those parts softened, I felt it, a warmth in the center of my chest, like time itself had curled up there, finally allowed to rest in me instead of dragging me behind it. This is the part where most people close the video, because it's easier to stay busy than to admit how long it's been since they let life touch them without a schedule. But you're still here, which means you already know. Something in you is so tired of running laps inside a clock. At some point in those 7 minutes, the illusion started to undress itself. Slowly, delicately, like silk slipping from skin. First, it was the idea that time is a straight line. Past behind, future ahead, present a thin wire you're constantly losing your balance on. Lying there, not controlling, not counting, not bargaining. That line dissolved. Memories rose like waves, but they weren't back there anymore. They were happening now, as sensations in my body, as images in my mind. Regrets, half buried, drifted up. Times I'd wasted. Opportunities I'd missed. Moments I wished I had lingered in instead of rushing past. Normally, they would sting like accusations, but without the usual commentary, they were just pictures, movements, echoes. They shimmered for a second, and then folded back into the stillness. The past had lost its teeth when I stopped using it to beat the present. Then came the future. It didn't arrive as days on a calendar or tasks on a list. It came as tension, the slight tightening in my jaw, the subtle contraction in my gut, the micro flinch in my heart whenever a thought began with, what if? What if I fail? What if I'm still like this in 10 years? What if I don't become who I'm supposed to be? Every future scenario had the same flavor, fear dressed up as planning, and I saw something that almost made me laugh. The future is just the present, rehearsing anxiety in advance. Without the impulse to control it, to fix it before it arrives, the future lost its solidity. It became a possibility, not a prison, a breeze, not a wall. And then there was the present. The present. You'd think, after so many books and quotes and reminders, we would know how to stay here by now. But the truth is, we usually use the present as a waiting room, waiting for the next text, the next distraction, the next version of ourselves that will finally feel like enough. For those 7 minutes, the waiting room disappeared. There was nowhere else to go. The itch to escape kept rising, into memories, into fantasies, into to-do lists. But I just watched it. No judgment, no scolding, just curiosity. Like watching a lover undress, not to possess them, but to finally see what's always been there. Each layer of time's illusion slipped away. I am my past, off. I am my future, off. I am this minute, defined by how I use it, off. Underneath all of it, there was something naked, raw, timeless. Not a moment, not a duration, just this silent being. And you, right now, feel your own illusion beginning to unbutton itself, don't you? Not because of my words, but because you've tasted this before. That moment when you're watching a sunset and forget to check your phone. When you're laughing so hard with someone that you lose track of hours. When you're staring at someone you love sleeping, and for a second, there is no before or after. Only this unbearable tenderness. You didn't control time then. You forgot it. And in forgetting, you were closer to the truth than all your clocks ever brought you. This is the part where most people close the video, because remembering those moments hurts a little. They realize how rarely they let them happen, how quickly they run back to schedules, to noise, to self-imposed urgency. But you're still here. You're brave enough to feel the ache that whispers, you traded too many sacred moments for getting somewhere on time, and you can't even remember where you were going. As the minutes unfolded, the experiment began to turn on me, gently, lovingly, ruthlessly. It started to ask questions, not in words, in sensations. If you don't control time, who are you trying so hard to become? If you aren't rushing to escape this moment, what exactly are you running from? If you stop telling yourself the story of too late and not yet, what would be left? I felt shame rise, hot and familiar. Shame that I had been here my entire life, inside this timeless awareness, and still chose, again and again, to bow down to the God of not enough. Not enough time, not enough progress, not enough youth left, not enough achievements behind. Shame for all the times I looked at the clock with more devotion than I ever gave to my own breath. It stung, and then it softened, because in that 7-minute sanctuary there was no judge. only seeing. Shame, when seen without judgment, melts into something else. Grief. And under grief. Love. I grieved for all the versions of me that lived as if every second was a verdict. I loved them for trying so hard. And you? What if your obsession with time has never been proof of your failure, but proof of how deeply you care, how much you wanted to get it right, to not waste this brief, bewildering existence? Can you feel the forgiveness in that? The way your shoulders drop, when you realize you were never the villain of your own story, just a frightened child, watching the sand fall, trying to build a life before it ran out. The illusion hadn't fully finished undressing yet. There was one more layer. Control itself. Not of time, of life. Because here's the secret I began to taste, lying there in the slow-burning now. Time is just the costume control wears. We say we're managing time, but what we're really trying to manage is the uncontrollable nature of existence. If I can plan enough, I'll be safe. If I can schedule enough, I'll be worthy. If I can stay ahead of the clock, maybe I won't have to feel how fragile everything is. In those 7 minutes, I stopped holding that shield. I felt the rawness of life. Unfiltered. My heartbeat. The slight instability in each breath. The knowledge, quiet but unmistakable, that I have no idea how many more of these moments I get. And instead of sending me into panic, it made everything more intimate. The way your lover's skin feels when you suddenly remember they are mortal. How every touch becomes a prayer. That's what time became when I stopped controlling it. Not an enemy, not a resource. A lover, too wild to own, too precious to rush. Somewhere around minute 5, if there even was a minute 5, fear arrived. Not the subtle tension, not the background hum. Real fear, the kind that hides in the body and only shows its teeth when the mind stops distracting it with tasks. It crept in like a shadow at the edge of my awareness. If you stop controlling time, you'll lose your life. Not just your plans, your identity. Because who are you? Without your history of being late, or early, or on time. Without your reputation for being reliable, or chaotic, or productive, or lazy. Without your carefully curated timeline of successes and failures. If time isn't your measuring stick, what do you stand on? The ego hates that question. It survives by being a character in a story stretched across time. Take away the line, and the character has nowhere to stand. My heart sped up. My breaths grew shallower. Even without checking the clock, I could feel it. The mind scrambling to re-establish control, to grab onto a goal, a plan, a worry, anything that would re-solidify the sense of being someone going somewhere. This is the part where most people close the video, because their own fear rises just hearing this. They feel a tremor under their feet, as if the ground they've been walking on, years, deadlines, age, is suddenly less stable than they thought. But you're still here, standing barefoot on the same trembling ground, curious. So let's step together. I didn't push the fear away. I didn't try to calm it with affirmations or logic. I did the most dangerous thing you can do with fear. I let it be there, without turning it into a story. No future attached, no catastrophe projected, just sensation. Tightness in the chest, buzzing in the limbs, heat in the face. Fear, when not fed by imagination, is just energy. Uncomfortable, yes. Unbearable, no. My mind screamed, do something, think something, plan something, reach for the phone, check the time, anchor yourself in the familiar. But the experiment was almost over. So I did the opposite. I relaxed. Not into apathy, into absolute helpless honesty. I don't know how much time I have. I don't know what will happen. I don't know if I'm using my life right. I let those confessions hang in the air like incense, heavy, surrendered. And in answer, nothing terrible happened. No lightning, no cosmic punishment, just more breath. In, out. Fear didn't vanish. It unfolded, like a clenched fist slowly revealing an open hand. Underneath it, there was something softer. Not certainty, not control. Trust. Not trust that everything would go the way I wanted. Trust that whatever happened, there would be enough of me, of this awareness, to meet it. And you, listening in the dark, what if the thing you're truly afraid of isn't running out of time, but never actually living in any of it? Not being fully here for your own life, because you were always trying to get to the next chapter. Feel that. It hurts, I know. But inside that hurt is the doorway. The death came quietly. Not dramatic, not cinematic, just a subtle shift. For a moment, I don't know how long, there was no I moving through time. There was just experience, happening. No thinker of thoughts, no controller of minutes, no me trying to relax or awaken or succeed at this experiment. There was breathing, beating, buzzing, being. Time wasn't a river carrying me forward. It was a flavor in the soup of awareness. Something arising inside what I am, not something I'm trapped inside of. The ego's usual commentary went silent because it had nothing to grip. It can't define a self without reference points. Past, future, comparison. Take those away for a few breaths, and what remains is terrifyingly simple. I am. Not, I am this, or I am that, or I am here at this point in my life. Just, I am. Silence. This is the part where most people close the video, because some instinct in them knows, if I let that simplicity sink in, my drama loses its throne. But you're still here, which means you're ready, for at least one moment, to be more than your story. And then, the rebirth. It didn't feel like fireworks. It felt like gentle reassembly. Thoughts drifted back in. My day, my plans, my responsibilities. The sense of I returned, but thinner, less armored, like a costume I could put on, instead of a skin I couldn't remove. I knew I would get up soon, brush my teeth, check my phone, re-enter the river of schedules and expectations. But something fundamental had shifted. I no longer believed time was something outside of me, rushing past like a train I had to catch before it was too late. I had tasted, for 7 small minutes, the truth. Time moves in me. I do not move in time. And once you taste that, every schedule becomes softer. Every deadline loses a little of its teeth. Every birthday candle feels less like an alarm and more like a reminder. You are still here. You are still here. You are still here. The timer went off. A simple sound. Small. Almost silly compared to what had happened in the space it was marking. 7 minutes. On a screen, it's nothing. In a life, it's everything. I didn't rush to stop it. I let it ring for a moment, like a tiny bell at the end of a ceremony no one else would ever know took place. When I finally tapped the screen, something in me bowed, not to the phone, to time, to the way it had always been both friend and ghost, and how for the first time I'd met it without trying to negotiate. The day went on. I got out of bed. I walked into the same kitchen with the same dishes, the same unfinished tasks waiting patiently like loyal, slightly annoyed dogs. But everything was different, not in appearance, in intimacy. Time wasn't an enemy I needed to conquer. It was a partner I could dance with. I still checked the clock. I still made plans. I still got lost in thought, in worry, in old habits. But each time I did, some quiet part of me smiled, because now I knew, if I stopped controlling time, even for 7 tiny minutes, the world wouldn't collapse. My life wouldn't evaporate. The only thing that died was the illusion that I was ever in charge of the river's flow. I was always the water. And you, right now, with your own phone glowing in your hand, numbers in the corner of your screen, reminders whispering that you should be somewhere else by now. What would happen if you gave yourself 7 minutes? Not tomorrow, not when you have time. Now, or as close to now as you're brave enough to choose. 7 minutes where you don't fix, don't plan, don't rehearse, don't punish yourself for the past or bargain with yourself about the future. 7 minutes where you let time move the way breath moves, effortlessly, on its own. You don't have to lie down. You don't have to light candles. You don't have to make it special. You just stop gripping. Stop narrating every minute as productive or wasted. Stop asking whether this moment measures up to the ones you thought you'd be living by now. For 7 minutes, let time be innocent again. Like when you were small, and an afternoon could last forever because you forgot to count it. This is the part where most people close the video, because the mind will say, "That's nice, but not for me. I'm too busy. I'm too behind." 7 minutes won't change anything. Listen closely. That voice is the same voice that's been running your life into exhaustion. It will never say, "Now is the right time to be free." It is built from not now. You don't have to fight it. Just don't obey it for 7 minutes. Here's what might happen if you dare. At first, you'll fidget. Your thoughts will race, listing all the things you could be doing instead. You'll be tempted to turn this into a technique, a task, a mini project called fixing my relationship with time. Let that pass. Then you'll feel the ache. The ache of all the moments you abandoned because you were mentally already in the next one. The ache of birthdays you mourned instead of celebrated. The ache of never fully being where you are. Let that ache break you open. Cry if it comes. Laugh at the absurdity of it all if that comes. Don't analyze. Don't explain. Just be the place where regret and relief meet like old friends. And if you stay, if you don't close the video in your own head, something gentler will arrive. A quiet that doesn't depend on everything going right. A peace that doesn't come from finally catching up. A sense that even if your life never becomes the neat, shining timeline you imagined, it is still unimaginably precious, because you are finally here to live it. Minute by minute, breath by breath, not as a prisoner of time, but as its secret. This is the part I wish I could put directly into your chest. You are not late. You are not behind. You are not running out of time to become yourself. Every version of you, in every year you've survived, has been trying to do one thing: arrive. Here. You've always been on your way, to the moment you finally stop. Stop controlling. Stop performing. Stop arguing with the clock. Just, for 7 minutes, let life find you, where you actually are. When this video ends, the world will look the same. Your to-do list will still be there. The bills, the conversations you've been avoiding, the dreams you're scared to chase. I won't lie to you and say they disappear. They don't need to. What changes is the one meeting them. Not a desperate runner trying to outrun the sun. Not a prisoner counting the days, but a presence. that has tasted its own timelessness, a presence that can hold a clock in its hand and smile, because it knows time can measure everything that happens to you. It cannot measure what you are. If this is the last thing you hear tonight, let it also be the first thing that truly wakes you up. You don't have to fix your whole life. Just give yourself 7 unhurried minutes, where you stop trying to hold time still and let it hold you instead.